All right. We should be recording now. Hope you guys are having a great day so far. I am joined here with Lauren White. So, she is a current one-on-one client of mine. We've been working together since I think it was last August, so August of 2024, when you officially signed on. And it's been awesome working with you over the past 6 months so far. And your progress has been really, really cool to see, not only physically, but also like mentally and mindset wise too, which I'm sure we'll dive into, with this video and everything here soon. Um, and you did all this despite like look because I went back and looked at your initial form that you filled out of just like describing how your day to day is and everything, but like being a mom to four kids, working from home with a job where you're sedentary, just sitting at a desk for, 10 hours a day, while also being able to find time or make time, guess I should say, with getting your workouts in, hitting all these variables, your steps, your nutrition and everything. So you've made it really work in like with the situation that a lot of people like really struggle with to being consistent, and like you found a way to get it done. So really excited to have you on. So Lauren, kind of tell everybody a little bit about yourself, where you're from, um, family life, what that's like, work life, what that's like, any fun facts about you too. Kind of share with everybody there.
Okay, sure. Well, I'm Lauren and I just turned 37 this month and I live in a small town, um Utica, Ohio. I have four girls, 5, 13, 12, and 17. So they all have extracurriculars and sports, and so their life is super busy as well. We live on a horse farm, and so then we also have a lot of barn chores that we have to do. Um, so life is very busy. And I think that's where it got me to the point, in August before I came across Joey. And I was at a point where I couldn't really push myself. I couldn't get on schedule. I joined a gym. I went occasionally. It wasn't consistent. And I've done that for several years. You join a gym, go a little bit, then life gets busy and you just don't prioritize it. So I think that's where I was at. I wasn't prioritizing myself, my nutrition, my exercise. A friend posted on Facebook. Actually, I think Joey, I think you posted, and it was a tag of a friend of mine. And so I saw it. I saw her results after 4 months, and I was amazed. And my initial thought was, wow, that's amazing. How did she do it? I wonder what supplements she's taking. Those my initial. And so I reached out to her and I said, how did you do this? And she told me about Joey. And so then I reached out to him. I filled out the application to do, a free consult, talked to him. And I think I specifically asked him, what kind of supplements do you have to take for this or whatever? Because most things you hear about are like, oh, take this pill. This is going to help you drop 10 pounds in a month, or do this supplement. And you said nothing. This is just nutrition and a couple workouts a week and daily step goal. And I was like, okay, well. And at first, honestly, I was like, I don't know if I can commit to this because it seems when you go from not being able to fit any of that into your lifestyle, and then I have a daily step goal and the nutrition and feeding a family of 6, the kids are probably not going to eat what I'm eating. So it seemed a little bit like I don't know if I can do this. But I just was like, let's try it. So I think I signed up the same day we had our call. And I was very excited. I knew my husband would be supportive, but he also was going to be shocked that I was doing this because I had never done anything like this for myself before. It's always been, about the kids, and you kind of put yourself on the back burner when there's no time left. So, it is what it is. But I got to the point where I was I was not feeling well physically, mentally. I just was frustrated. I was cutting my calories because I thought that's what I needed to do. Like if I just eat less calories, I'll drop some weight. Um, and it wasn't working. I was down to like 1,200 calories a day, and I was gaining weight. And I was like, I don't know what to do at this point. Um, so I jumped into this, and I was very cautious because Joey was telling me I need to increase my calories up to like 1,900, I think was my maintenance. We slowly upped it. And I was like, how is that going to make me lose weight? That makes no sense. I'm going to gain weight. I was nervous. Honestly, I was like, this doesn't make any sense. And then so I started asking questions, and you started explaining it. And then exactly what you said would happen happened. I increased my calories over a few weeks all the way up to 1,900, and I didn't gain any weight at all. Nothing. It was kind of incredible. So, I think about, let's see, was it 3 weeks in, maybe, that I then started like my workouts and things like that. And um, it was hard at first to adjust because I do work from home, so I have that luxury that I don't have to travel for work. I don't have to get up, get ready, travel to my place of employment. So it made it a little bit easier. Also made it easier that I did purchase all the equipment and set up a gym in my basement. So that made it even nicer. It still was a struggle. I was getting up at about 5 and doing my workout before work. Um, so it was a bit of a struggle at first, but once I got used to it, it was like I looked forward to the workouts. I couldn't wait till the next workout. And there's 3 workouts a week, so on the days off, I was like, man, I need to do something. Like I feel like I should be. I feel like I should be. Um, and I'll say when I first started, the biggest struggle was getting the steps in. Because my work is sedentary. I'm tied to a computer, and that's my work. So I was setting hourly alarms on my phone to force myself to get up and walk around my house. Even if it's just for 5 minutes. And then by the end of the day, I was still short steps, so I had to get them in at night after everything's done. Dinner, chores, kids are all ready for school the next day, all this. So it was like I'm pushing 10, 11 o'clock when I'm trying to get my steps in. Um, so that was my biggest struggle. I have since then been getting up earlier, getting some steps in the morning, and that's been so much better. So that's
Mhm.
just like a little started. Um, that's helpful.
Yeah, no, no, that's great. A lot of really good stuff in there. So it was Nicole. I'm pretty sure the picture that you saw. Yeah. It's funny. We did an interview with another one of my clients, Michelle, because she's lost a bunch of weight over the past 6 months too, and we did an interview, and that was who she saw, like Nicole's picture too, and it was like, all right, let me look into this. So Nicole has done an awesome job at being like a poster person of what's possible, and like then Michelle has done great, you have done great, and it's really cool to see like friends of a really successful client that I have join and them see success too, like you guys see success too, and it's just really awesome to see. Um but uh so kind of like taking a step back, um you came into this really with not a whole lot of weight to lose, like compared to, some other people. Like some other people, they might have 50, 60 pounds, maybe a little less, maybe a little bit more to lose, where you came into it wanting to lose maybe like 10 to 15 pounds. That was kind of like what was on your radar roughly when you filled out the form and everything. Um, so let me ask you, like, before you joined this, before that time period where, like, you did pull the trigger, had you really struggled with like your weight at all, or wanting to lose weight for a long time, or was this like a new thing for you that was recent, or was because some people they like struggle for years and years with their body composition and wanting to lose weight and they can't find a solution. Some people it's like a new thing. What was that like for you?
I have been I've been wanting to lose, well, I mean, since we had our last daughter and she's 5.5 now. So, I never really, I think I got back down to my pre-pregnancy weight, but then I very slowly have been just like gaining it back. So it's been about 5 years since I've been wanting to lose 10 to 15 pounds, and it's been on my mind every single day. So, you go through the seasons when you go from cold to warm and warm to cold, and you get your clothes out and try them on, and they don't fit. So that's that's been about 5 years that, you go up a size each year. And so, yeah, it's just been kind of eating at me for about 5 years.
Yeah, and it makes like every year, I'm sure, when you pull out like those clothes and maybe they even fit a little bit tighter, year after year, it makes it sting, a little bit more every single year of like, man, like I had like this year, my goal was to actually lose the weight, but now I'm putting these clothes on and I've actually gained weight this year. Um, so you kind of touched on it a little bit, but I want to emphasize a little bit more. What were some things that you tried to lose the weight that I'm assuming, obviously hadn't worked, whether in the short term it didn't work at all, or maybe you lost weight in the short term, but then just gained it back. I know you mentioned like 1200 calorie diets in there, but elaborate on that more and like what other things did you maybe try, whether nutrition wise or even like workout wise to try to get, this body fat off that you wanted to lose?
Yeah, so I joined a gym. I was going a couple times a week, but I wasn't consistent. I didn't set a schedule for myself. And I just kind of tried to work around my kids and everything else. So that was just set up to be a failure. Um, I tried cutting my calories, eating lower carbs, cutting out sweets, cutting out sugars. Basically, I feel like what everybody tries, and it's out there, oh, just eat lower calories, just, you shouldn't have sugar. Sugar's bad. And carbs make you gain weight. Um, I tried some of the apps that have workout videos. I tried those. I have P90X videos. I have all those DVDs. I did those for a short period of time, which those are good, and I think they can be beneficial, but they're so intense, and the soreness after doing those videos was like so unbearable that it from continuing with those. And I think it's because you have to kind of start at your level, and that P90X was not my level whatsoever. I think that's for people who are already fit. And none of this stuff was working. The lower calories wasn't working, lower carbs wasn't working. I even did an Advocare challenge. I think they have like a 14-day challenge, and then they have a longer one too. That did nothing. And you have to take all these supplements and drink this really bad fiber drink. None of that worked. I was looking into those. I think this is a trend right now. It's called slimming drops. It's a company, and they say it's like it balances your hormones, it levels out your glucose. I was even considering those, which are like $200 a month. So, I think, well, you get so desperate and you'll literally try anything. But none of it works because it's not compatible long term, and it's not changing your bad habits that you have.
Absolutely. I could go down a big rabbit hole with the P90X workouts. I used to do those back in the day. Back in like high school, I did them a lot, like the strength training and lifting ones. And they're not bad videos, honestly. Like for them being workout videos that you do at home, those ones that you use dumbbells with, like they're pretty solid, but they do, like you said, sometimes they like push you to be too sore, and it's not a good thing. People mistake being exhausted and really sore after a workout with, okay, that was productive and that was better than a workout that doesn't make me as sore. But that's not necessarily the case. You don't want to be super sore after every single workout. And if you are, it probably means that you're doing way too much volume. So you're doing way too many sets. Or it means you're switching exercises up too often, where like you want to keep the same exercises in and progress on those over a longer period of time. Or number three, is if you're always sore when you do them, maybe you're just inconsistent with them. Like if you do one, take 2 weeks off, and then you come back, like you're gonna be really sore because you took those 2 weeks off. But um, they're okay, but there's definitely ways that they can improve. But it's a thing where they want people to feel accomplished after they finish it because they want you to keep, buying more of their workouts and keep subscribing or whatever. So they like almost push you too much more than that they should, and like get your heart rate up super high and have short rest periods because it feels like you're doing more work when in reality it's not getting you better results than like, the type of workouts that, you've been doing. Um, and the slimming drops, somebody sent me like a little bottle of something and asked me about it like multiple months ago, and I don't know if it was maybe you. But they sent me
I might,
some kind of, was it you?
I don't know. I might have mentioned it in one of the Q&A, like submitted a question about them. I think I
Okay.
might have, because a
Yeah, I
lot of
think
my people were doing those.
yeah, I remember that. And those types of things are really just BS. I mean, there's nothing out there that is going to like melt fat off that is not some kind of like illegal drug, or even like the weight loss medications like Ozempic and those types of things. Like those aren't melting fat off of your body, and they're not boosting your metabolism to like burn a bunch of fat. They're just significantly reducing your appetite, sometimes even making you, really nauseous during the process so you don't eat and then you lose weight that way. But um like there's nothing out there you can just buy on some like really sketchy website with no prescription that's gonna boost your metabolism enough to be like, okay, I'm just gonna take this and now I'm gonna start burning fat. So it's so frustrating that those types of things are out there. But it sounds like you've tried obviously a ton of stuff and have even thought about even trying some of those other things. So what was your like first instinct or feeling when you did like take the leap and join coaching? Were you like really nervous? Were you really skeptical? Were you maybe even just like super optimistic and excited because of seeing, Nicole's progress or whatever? But like where was your headspace in when you did take that leap?
I was really excited. I was super optimistic about it. And when I told my husband, he was like, "Well, wow, that's quite a bit of money, but if it works, maybe I'll do it too. Maybe I'll join after, you see some results." And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I and really when you break it down, it's not any more expensive than any of the other things you try, you know. So I think the price is reasonable, and I was super optimistic. I wanted to start right away. But I think the hard part was like the first couple weeks is just kind of like a tracking, just kind of like for you to understand what my habits were, what my eating habits were, what my daily moving is like. So that I was like, man, I want to start like right now. Like I just want in and do it. I don't sit and wait on things. So that was hard. But yeah, I was super optimistic, super excited, especially all of the progress pictures of all of your other clients I was watching on your page. Like it's amazing. It truly is. And you're not dropping like no, you're not dropping 10 pounds a month. Like and that's what most people want to do. And I feel like a lot of people might be deterred by this program because, oh, I'm not going to lose, like, I want it to go faster. I'm not going to drop 10 pounds a month. And, this is like a long term thing. It takes longer, but it's sustainable. And after 2 months of doing it, I'm not going to be sick of it and stop and lose all my progress. So I think that's really what differs from your program and other kind of weight loss types of things. Um, and this isn't just like a weight loss, it's making you healthier all around, physically, mentally, everything. And I think that's really like why it's so successful as well. Like all of your clients are so successful because this is an all around amazing program and it's sustainable. It's compatible. I mean, I have 4 children, work 10 hours a day and live on a farm, and I'm able to do it. So it really is a great program.
Yeah, and there are so many really good points you had in there, and like one, the financial aspect. Yeah, it's definitely an investment for sure. But like you said, when you really think about it, all of these other types of things that you can try that don't work are going to add up to that, cost or even more. And also too, when you factor in like, okay, maybe I have all these bad habits and I'm getting DoorDash like a few times a week where now I join this program and maybe I'm only getting DoorDash once a week instead of three. And maybe every time I get DoorDash, I spend 50 bucks. And now that's, $100 a week I'm saving from doing this program because I'm not getting DoorDash so often. And that's $400 a month I'm saving from that. And also, when you factor in like a lot of people will go towards like in-person trainers, and I think there's definitely like a time and place for that 100% because it is nice to have somebody with you to see your form. Now, I know you've sent a lot of form videos, and that's like a perk of the program too, is you're able to send videos of yourself and I can give you form critiques and everything and help you out there. But, there is a benefit of being in person with someone sometimes too. But in-person trainers a lot of times are super expensive too. Like, I don't know, $100 a session or something like that. So like, if you do one session a week with an in-person trainer, which isn't enough to really see that much progress, honestly, like you are spending, more than what this program is, full transparency. And also, you're not getting the nutrition side of things. You're not getting somebody to be able to message and text on a daily basis for support. You're not getting all those adjustments. So it really is worth it, especially when you factor in you talking about being able to see sustainable results that you can keep, learning how to like eat at maintenance so you are able to maintain the weight afterwards, and also that these are like skills and mindset changes and things that you can take with you forever. It's not just like a short 8-week program where you like shred a bunch of weight really quickly off of something that there's like, okay, here's my end date and now I'm done with this. Like I just gotta tough through, these 8 weeks and then you just gain it back afterwards. Like we're losing in a way that obviously like there's some challenge to it, but in a way where it's not so far extreme and back and forth where okay we put the foot on the gas a little bit but then we learn how to ease off of it the right way so we still maintain our results afterwards. So it makes like such a big difference. And losing 10 pounds in a month of actual like body fat, or losing 10 pounds in general of just body fat versus losing 10 pounds in a month where a lot of it's water weight and a lot of it's muscle mass, makes a big difference too. Like you can look at somebody and compare their body compositions of losing 10 pounds on the scale, even though a lot of it is water and muscle, versus losing 10 pounds of body fat over a long period of time. Their body composition is going to look dramatically different and they're going to feel dramatically different too. Um, so that's something to remember too. Like you might want to lose the weight quicker, but you actually don't, because the quicker you lose it, the more likely it's just water and muscle. And we don't want to lose muscle mass. Like that's not good for our health and probably not what people want for their body composition either. And when it comes to water weight, you might lose water weight, but you'll just gain the water, once you start drinking more water, eating, how you normally would afterwards. Um, so we kind of mentioned the first phase was us building your calories up to kind of your maintenance level. And you mentioned that you like were kind of worried that you were gonna gain some body fat or gain some weight during this point, and you didn't. How was that? Like, was that surprising to you? Were you like kind of shocked on that, or how did you even feel? Like, were you maybe even nervous when I told you that's what our initial first phase was gonna be like?
Oh yeah, I was absolutely. Um, I've never heard of. I guess I've never heard of that theory before. Like you have your maintenance calories, and then in with that amount of calories, you shouldn't gain weight. So yeah, that really surprised me. I was very confused by that. Um, Explained it, it made sense. You build yourself up to maintenance, and that's where your body figures out you need to be, and then you cut back by a couple hundred calories, and that's when you that's when you burn your fat. So once you explained it all, it made perfect sense, but I literally have never come across that before. Like, there's all these ideas out there, all these diets, all these things, but never have I come across that. And like that's actually the truth behind it. And it's like, why isn't that out there more? Why isn't this taught more? people would benefit so much more, if like in high school there was a class about this. In college they taught this. Like, I feel like that should be a part of general education so that people know, because I literally never knew. I mean, I'm a nurse, you know. It's not like I'm just like I don't have any medical knowledge whatsoever, but I did not know that. Blew my mind, actually.
Hmm. Yeah, there definitely 100% needs to be way more education with nutrition, like, growing up, in the school system and everything, because there's so much misinformation out there too. Um, but yeah, I mean, the first phase we spent like the first 3 or 4 weeks just building your calories up, your body weight maintained the same, and a lot of people are really like shocked when that happens, and it's so beneficial for like a variety of reasons, but two big ones are, if you've been dieting on and off for a long period of time, especially like you had mentioned that you were doing like 1200 calorie diets or at least attempting it for a while, there's a good chance your metabolism is a little bit slowed down. And by taking the time to build your calories up first, it allows us to kind of maximize your metabolism in a like short, simple sense. Could we have started the fat loss phase initially and saw some results? Probably, but like you would have had a higher chance of running into some kind of plateau. We might not have seen fat loss as not effortlessly, but as efficiently to where maybe we would have had to do something a little bit more extreme to get fat loss going. So we kind of take that time, take those few weeks to really optimize, your metabolism in that spot. So it makes the fat loss phase easier down the road. So thinking, like we had kind of touched on, more long term versus what's going to get me some weight loss initially in the first couple of weeks. And also too, it helps to make the process just feel easier as well, because you're able to like build these habits that you need as like a foundation and a baseline before starting the fat loss phase, which isn't like anything crazy and extreme, but it's a little bit more intense than the maintenance phase, like you've probably experienced. So it allows you to like get a consistent step goal of 8,000 per day, get used to the workouts, allows you to get used to tracking your food, hitting your protein goal, and it also allows you to like build some muscle underneath too before starting a fat loss phase, because during those first few weeks too your body's like really primed to actually put on some lean muscle, because like all of this is so new. Your body's getting the protein it needs, the fuel it needs, the workouts it needs, and all of that. So that first phase is like so important. um, and it's very rare that I have a client that comes in and we immediately start a fat loss phase. I wouldn't say it never happens. If there's a situation where like we need to for like really immediate health reasons, we will. But most of the time, like taking a few weeks in that priming phase just sets you up for so much better long term success. Um, so, what about the fat loss phase? Once we started implementing that, what were some things that like surprised you with it, or that you felt were like easier than expected, or maybe even harder than expected too? Like what was your experience through? Because we did basically one kind of full fat loss phase that I think was around like 8-ish weeks long, and then we did another one that was just a little bit shorter, around like 4-ish weeks. Um, so kind of share like your experience with the fat loss phase.
It was way easier than what I expected. I went from, so when I was eating around 1,200 calories, I was probably only eating like twice a day and maybe having a snack. So I didn't eat much. I really thought the fat loss was going to be difficult. I thought I was going to be hungry, and I never was, honestly. When I'm in my maintenance phase, it actually is harder for me to eat all those calories because I'm just so full. But during the fat loss, it feels better to me. I feel like I'm not overeating, if that makes sense. I have some adjustments to make with my maintenance, and eating different types of calories and things. So I got to work on that. But fat loss phase was actually easy for me. I didn't feel like I was starving myself. I didn't feel like I was working hard to lose the fat. I'm doing the workouts, I'm doing the steps, and I'm just eating a good overall diet. So honestly, I was very surprised. I thought I was going to be starving the whole time And really, I never was. I never was hungry. And I think that's because, before I started this, I wasn't eating what I should be eating. I wasn't eating the fruits, the vegetables, and getting all the water. And so with all of that, you just don't feel hungry. And I thought I would have cravings like crazy. Like I love ice cream. It was almost like a daily thing. Um, Now I go weeks without eating ice cream. Um, or, we used to eat pizza probably once a week, maybe twice a week, order out pizza. And we don't really do that anymore. And I thought I was going to struggle with that. I thought I was really going to want it, and I don't. Like, that really surprised me.
It makes a big difference when you are eating a diet that is high in protein. Like you said, you're drinking plenty of water, you're getting your fruits and vegetables in. You feel more full and satisfied throughout the day, and those cravings kind of go away. A lot of times, like people think, and the thing about this program too is like I give you full permission to have pizza if you want. Obviously, we probably don't want to have pizza every day. It's going to make it hard to hit the calorie and protein ranges and everything and stay consistent if we are. But you know that you have full permission once a week to have some pizza too. But the thing is when you start eating like lean protein, fruits and vegetables, whole grains, and balancing your meals that way, and also once you start to like see the results from it, and then you also start to see how you feel eating those foods, you kind of like just subconsciously don't want to have them as often because they just make you feel a little sluggish. You don't feel as good, like regardless of the fat loss indications of it, like you just don't feel as good. This is something that I've seen a lot with myself lately, is just like my wife and I will kind of talk about where we want to like get some food. Sometimes on the weekends we like to get takeout or order or whatever, and just like my like three main options are always like that I would prefer, like Chipotle, Subway, or there's another place called BB Bop, which is like, I don't know if you've heard of BB Bop. Yeah, so
Yeah.
if you're a listener and you're not really sure what that is, you can get like steak or chicken and rice and some vegetables and some sauce and everything, and you can definitely rack up those things to be a lot of calories for sure. But also you can like it feels a little bit lighter on your stomach getting, some rice and some steak and some vegetables versus getting like pizza or something really greasy. And like once you get used to eating that way, you realize just how much better you feel eating those foods more often. And it's not that like the pizza or the burgers or the ice cream are like always off limits. It's just that you just naturally kind of don't want them as much because you want to feel good. And then like the results from it are just kind of a bonus too.
Yeah, I remember the first time we ordered pizza out, and I probably ate too much pizza. I'm telling you, like an hour later, I was like, gosh, like I was like a slug. I'm like, I need to just go to bed. Like this is miserable. And so then the next time we ordered out pizza, I was like, listen, I'm having like two pieces. I'm done. I'm gonna eat salad instead because I didn't want to feel like that. And it's crazy how your body like gets used to that. Like when you just eat crap all the time like that, you just get used to it, and it's like that's just how it is. But when you stop eating like that and then you throw it in there, you really see what it makes you feel like. And yeah, I don't really feel like eating that anymore.
Yeah, 100%. So we did, like I kind of mentioned, an 8 week fat loss phase, and then a little bit of a diet break or maintenance phase, and then a 4 week fat loss phase. So we were essentially in a fat loss phase for 12 weeks total, if you count those two. And you dropped about like 10-ish pounds from like where you started, which is really significant. I mean, 10 pounds in 12 weeks of being in a fat loss phase is really close to around a pound of fat loss on average per week, which is like really the fastest anyone should be really losing body fat, like we kind of talked about. Not necessarily body weight, like you can lose a lot of water and lose that quicker, but actual body fat when you do it slower, like that's a tremendous pace. And especially for you, like your body weight was already relatively low to like compared to what a lot of other clients might be. And so like 10 pounds is pretty much like 10% of your total body weight, even your starting weight almost, which is a really significant amount of weight in like 6 months. Like think if you're somebody who's 200 pounds, that would be like you losing 20 pounds in 6 months, which is like a great rate of fat loss. So your progress has been awesome. especially like given your circumstances and, with you struggling so much to see results, beforehand. What other kinds of like wins have you experienced with this? Other than just like the number on the scale being lower, but like how your clothes are fitting, your mindset around things, just, kind of share like what other things you've gotten out of this as far as results that aren't just the number on the scale.
Sure. Yeah. So, my mindset has totally changed. I no longer, let's see, if I do give myself a snack, a treat, something like that, I don't feel like, oh my gosh, this is gonna make me gain 3 pounds tomorrow. The scale's gonna be up. My clothes aren't gonna fit. I'm gonna feel I'm gonna feel like crap. I don't I don't have that mindset anymore. If we go to a birthday celebration and I have a piece of cake or I have some ice cream, it doesn't bother me at all. I know that that alone is not going to cause me to gain weight. Um, the rest of the week I eat super healthy. I stay in my calorie range, stay in my protein range, and I now know that one treat is not going to make or break anything. It's not going to change my progress. My clothes fit way better. I can fit into shirts that I haven't been able to fit into in years. Just feel like, don't feel that stuffed feeling, when you put your clothes on and they're just like so tight. Um, and as far as like mindset, like I think the biggest thing that I got out of this is, sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
Um, so I found out just that I needed to have an abdominal surgery. Um, when did we were like, what, like 2 months in, I found out I was going to need to have it 2 months into this program. And so I was super upset. I'm like, wow, I just started this program. I really don't want to take time off. This surgery is going to make me have to take off 6 weeks from from the lifting, and I was not excited about it at all. Um, I would have been in a much worse place had I not started this journey first, because going into this surgery, I knew that 6 weeks off was not going to backtrack the progress I made. I did still have a little feeling that I might gain a couple pounds. I've been at maintenance for 4 weeks now, and I have not gained one single pound. And that was like my biggest struggle, was knowing I had to take time off. And I knew I was going to do okay because of everything you've taught me, and being at maintenance before, and I didn't gain weight. So if I had not joined prior to having this surgery, I would have been a mess every single day. I would have been restricting my calories. I would have been restricting my carbs. I would have been constantly worrying that I was going to gain 10 pounds over the 6 weeks, because for 3 weeks, I really couldn't do anything minus walking in my house. Um, so I'd say that's my biggest take on this. My mindset is completely different, and I think my mental health is completely improved just from a couple of months in your program. Um, and honestly, I'm not sure. I would be so upset today. I've had 4 weeks off of not being able to do anything, and it would have been a lot harder without having this program. And I look forward to, in 2 weeks, getting to restart my workouts, because it's been a long time off. Um, but I know without this, it would have been so much harder.
hmm Yeah, you've had so many, like obviously physical wins of losing 10 pounds, fitting better in your clothes, and all of that. And even like the strength increases you've seen too. But like some of the biggest wins for you, like you said, were the mindset wins that you've had. And like finally being able to be at peace with like food and your relationship with it and your relationship with the scale. Like I saw so many huge changes in just how you responded when the weight on the scale would be up a couple of pounds for whatever reason, because of a water weight fluctuation or more sodium the day prior or something like that, or going into this surgery, I know, like you said, a couple of months ago or a couple of months into things, like you found out this was going to be a thing you were going to have. And worrying about like, am I going to gain weight or gain body fat? And like, I could visually, or I guess, like see from your responses of like, you're doing really well mentally, even though, we weren't able to really walk the first few weeks and we, weren't able to work out, so far the past 4 weeks, and having to put fat loss on pause for a little bit during this time because, we talked about being in a fat loss phase when you're not able to lift weights is just not ideal at all. Like you are going to lose muscle if you do that, and that's going to make your body composition worse, and you're probably just going to gain that weight back, but in body fat afterwards because of some of the hunger signaling that happens when you lose muscle mass. And I know that was like maybe a little frustrating to hear at first. That okay, I'm not this is 6 weeks and it's January 1st and it's the beginning of the year where everyone's super motivated to lose fat. And now Joey's telling me like we have to go into maintenance, but you really trusted in the process. And I've just seen how you are like accepting the long-term vision more and more, as the weeks go on, and you're okay with, putting fat loss on pause for a little bit because I know it's going to be better for my long-term results. And um like you said, if you weren't in this, you would have gone into that surgery. One, you probably would have, maybe not, but there's a higher chance you might have tried to crash diet leading into it because you're like, well, I'm not going to be able to work out for 6 weeks. So now I'm going to try to lose as much weight as possible beforehand, which would have been like right around Christmas time and the holidays too, which would not have been fun. But then also, once you get back into things in a few weeks, like you're going to be able to ease into things again the right way and not feel like, oh my God, I ballooned up and gained 5 to 10 pounds, after surgery. So now I got to lose it again. We've increased your calories slightly over the past 4 weeks, even though we haven't been lifting, and you've
Hmm.
maintained all of your weight so far. So just super proud of you for just, I don't know, I guess just buying into the process so much, even though I know there was like some fear around it, but you still like did it anyway, and you still followed the plan and communicated with me, when you did have questions and you did second guess things. And that's made all the difference. And another mindset win too that I think was really big for you that I remember one of our first conversations we had in the beginning of this, maybe like the very first week that I gave you goals was I think it was like a birthday celebration or something, and you had like a cupcake, I think it was, and or maybe you said no to a cupcake. And we had a
Yeah.
conversation. I was like, maybe having one cupcake is actually a bigger win for you. And I think that really like opened your mind of like, okay, like saying no to all these foods that are quote unquote bad all the time actually isn't the goal. Like the goal is being able to have them in moderation. So you can kind of chime in on that experience too. But I remember that from the beginning.
Yeah, so cupcakes are one of my big weaknesses. I love cupcakes. And so anytime there would be cupcakes, there's 4 children in this house, so there's always birthdays and there's always something. So if I was preparing the cupcakes, well, one, I would eat a lot of the batter. And two, once they were made, I would probably eat 3 or 4 cupcakes just, while I'm making them, just because they're so delicious. But now, like, I don't have that. It's almost like I wanted it so bad, I just like binged on it. But at that birthday party, I had 1 cupcake and I was satisfied. So I don't know what that shift is there, but it's good because man, I would eat so much. Or same with ice cream. Like I would just like, you go get an ice cream cone. I would get the largest one and I would eat it all. Now
Mhm.
I'm just like get the smallest one and I'm satisfied. And then I don't feel like crap afterwards. So yeah, I think that was only like a couple months in and yeah, I was super surprised. I had 1 cupcake and I was very proud of myself. And it was very satisfying.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think that ultimately comes down to when you do an approach like this where there's no like foods that are completely off limits ever, because when you put these limits on foods and have these foods labeled as okay, this is a bad food, I'm cutting it out from my diet for the next 6 months so I can lose weight, you're like putting this food on this pedestal, and then you always think about it. Like if you're a little kid and somebody tells you, "Hey, don't do this," you're gonna like want to do it because they're telling you not to do it, and it just becomes this like thing that you can't take your mind off of. But when you say, "Hey, like you can actually have this cupcake, you want to have it in moderation, but like you can have it at any time you want as long as you account for it and include it in there," then it like makes it less prestigious, and it makes it to where, okay, like I don't need to eat 3 or 4 cupcakes today because I know if I want to have one a couple of days from now, I can. And it's not a thing where, okay, here's my one cupcake day, and then I'm gonna go cold turkey for the next, few months after that. Like you get out of that cycle when you open it up. There's obviously a balance between there. Like, we don't have to have 5 cupcakes a day. That's probably not going to be beneficial. But I think that was a big part, with that for you and for a lot of other clients too. Um, and something else that you mentioned too was just the benefit of that first maintenance phase that we did too, where it was actually planned. It wasn't like, hey, we had surgery, so we have to go to maintenance, but it was like a planned maintenance break. And you mentioned that that gave you confidence in the next maintenance phase to maintain your weight. Um, Kind of touch on that. Like, was that surprising that, like, in the midst of a fat loss phase, we brought calories back up and you completely maintained all that fat loss? Or, like, what was your kind of thought process or experience with that?
I mean, I've been pretty surprised throughout the entire process. August, everything has been completely surprising to me. The fact that the scale, like, I think there was like 4 in a row. The scale was literally at the same exact weight, and I was like, "What is this? Why? What is going on? I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and this scale is not budging. It's literally the same exact weight." And you're like, "Yeah, I think maybe in the next few days you're gonna drop a couple pounds," and then that's what the next. Yep. I was like, "Okay, well, I'm just." So from that point on, I just believed every single thing you said. Um, it's all been pretty surprising. Like you're like, oh, you're not gonna lose much muscle mass during the 6 weeks off, and you're not gonna gain the weight back. And I was like, yeah, okay. And here we are, 4 weeks out, and I have not gained a pound back. So it's just it's it all like is coming together, and it's all making perfect sense. And I questioned honestly why you had your clients commit to 6 months at first. I was like, well, I don't really think that 6 months is needed. But now looking at all the processes you go through, and it is, and actually more than 6 months is needed. Um, like I'm gonna continue. I think that I have more progress to make, and I have more to learn from you. So um, it's it's crazy how like you know this stuff to a T, and it's almost like it's crazy to me how you have that much knowledge about this, and that's why your program's so successful. That's why your clients are so successful. If they just trust in you, then they're gonna have that success and be able to absorb your knowledge, and it's actually very amazing. I've talked about it a lot to friends and stuff, and even my mom, and trying to and she's even like, wait, what do you mean? So it's pretty incredible. And if anyone is considering joining, even just do the consult and have a chat and at least give it a chance, because it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I remember that time period where the weight in the scale was just not moving, and then it was like 2 days after, whenever, or maybe even a day after, where I was like, I mean, it happens, like, and then you just got to keep staying consistent, and it'll probably go down, and like I can say that because I just know so much of how the human body works, and I've worked with so many clients, and I know what to expect and this and that if you're following the plan, right? So I'm like, hey, just keep staying consistent. It'll probably go down, and then it drops down. And people think I'm like can tell the future or something, or a psychic, or what is that, psychic? Or I don't know what it is, but um, so it's funny, but um, and yeah, like you said, 4 weeks into this maintenance phase, not working out at all, and still have maintained everything, perfectly, which is great. Like that's what you want. You want to make progress, and then if you have some kind of hiccup in life, know how to at least keep the progress and not go backwards. And then once you're able to start working out again, then you start chipping away even more and going even farther. And the 6 month minimum commitment, yeah, it's some people think it's a lot, but I would say like most coaches have that in place now. At least some coaches even require like a year, but it's just some people, the actual result you want might just take 6 months or maybe a little bit less, but there's just like so much you need to learn and so many processes and phases you need to go through to have the skills to keep it off long term too. Like I could take on a client and they can tell me, hey, I want to lose 30 pounds in 6 months, and I could make it happen as long as they follow through with it. But like, is that going to actually set them up for long term success to keep the weight off forever? And if they have actually 50 pounds they want to lose, are they going to have the skills to keep going and lose the next 20 pounds without getting burnt out? Are they going to be able to do it in a way that feels like they don't have to sacrifice their whole entire life to lose 30
Right.
pounds in 6 months? Probably not. So you need that longer timeline to reach the goal in a sustainable way so you can keep it off forever and learn the skills. Like, I mean, you kind of talked about how much it seems like I know. I've been religiously studying this stuff, reading about it, watching videos about it since 2013 for over 10 years. Like, I mean, and even before then in high school, I was into like lifting. I didn't really know a ton of good stuff about nutrition. I thought like if I ate this food, it was going to make me magically burn body fat, but I was interested in it at least. But it wasn't until like 2013, 2014 where it was like, I mean, you can ask my wife. Every time I had free time and we were like done with our college classes and we were, watching TV in the evening, she'd watch TV and I would be watching YouTube videos on this kind of stuff of like um, nutrition and all that. And obviously, like the formal schooling that I've done too to become a dietitian. But it's like, how can I take everything I've learned in 10 plus years and scrunch it into like a 12-week program for someone to be successful and actually keep the weight off? Like it's just impossible. So it just takes more time. Now, is it going to take you or somebody else 10 years to learn what I've learned? No, because I spent a lot of time learning some things that maybe weren't true, but I had to do trial and error to find that out, which it's like when you do a program like this and you have a coach who's a good coach, you're not only getting the result in a shorter period of time than what you would get on your own because you have the right guidance and you're not making as many mistakes because you have a good plan in front of you, but also you all the knowledge is like being condensed. And I'm making sure to like teach you all, like you and all my other clients along the way, the things that are actually really important and not to waste time learning things that just don't really matter when it comes to results and just learning the big rocks. And so um I'll wrap my monologue up, but this is why I think everybody, even with a 6 month minimum commitment, I think everybody should at least be in a program like this for a year because you have time to navigate through all these phases. You have time to navigate all of the seasons that come in life and all the seasons that come in just a yearly span too, with like Christmas, the holidays, summer, like all of those things have new challenges to them. And learning how to like adjust your nutrition or your fitness or your workouts to kind of balance those things in those seasons is super important if you want to be successful long term. And I have a lot of clients that I work with for longer than a year too, that I've been with for like 2 years because we just like set new goals and keep going. And, even like if you feel like you have the knowledge to do it on your own, having the accountability and being able to just like hand over the reins to someone else so you don't have to make the decisions and think as much about, okay, do I decrease calories here, increase here? Just helps you to focus on just like, being a mom, working, your own personal life, and not have to like be the coach yourself, which helps a lot too.
It does it, and that's what it took for me to actually get started and get committed was you just doing all of the background work for me and just tell me what to do. I mean, I never thought I would need that, but apparently I did.
It makes a world of difference. Like I have so much knowledge even when it comes to programming for powerlifting, but I have a powerlifting coach myself because if I'm doing it on my own, I'm going to go 3 weeks into like a 4 week cycle of workouts that I wrote out. I'm going to have one day where maybe I don't feel as strong and I feel weaker. And I'm gonna be like, oh man, I need to make a
Yep.
change. When really, it was maybe just one day where like my fatigue fluctuated and like everything will be good. But it's like when you're on your own, you make so many neurotic adjustments that don't need to be made, and you know sabotage yourself unknowingly, because you it's really hard to be objective with yourself.
Yes. True.
Um, so to kind of wrap this up, I know you kind of touched on it a little bit, but what would you say to somebody who, you know, is watching this or they watched other videos or saw other transformations and they, you know, are on the fence about if they should do it, if it's worth it, like, will they see results with this? What would be like your advice to them?
Um, I would tell them to just give you a call. I was hesitant to fill out your form and do the free consult, but I'm glad I did because honestly, going into that, I was not going to sign up. I'm like, I'll just see what he has to say, but I don't plan on doing this. That was my thought, to be honest. But then afterwards, I'm like, oh well, he knows some things that I've never heard of before and never tried, so might as well give it a shot. And if you're on the fence, um, they should definitely look at your page to see the results. And it's not just like one client out of 25 has results. It's all of your clients have results on there. Some of the results have they're all at different progress points. So some results are they show more improvement than others, but like I said, they're all at different progress points. And I mean, if you can make a transformation that is seeable by other people in 4 months, that's pretty good. There's not one thing I've stuck to for 4 months in my life that I've seen progress like that. So, and to not only feel good physically and look good physically, but to change your mindset on things and now you feel good mentally, that's worth all of it. Just that alone is worth it. So, that's what I would say. And I don't know that there's anybody that's joined that's regretted it. I mean, on your page, it doesn't look like any of those people have not made progress. So, seems like a win to me.
It's so empowering when your mindset changes along the way, along with the physical result, and you feel like you have the tools to navigate those hard times, like, you know, with not being able to work out for 4 weeks. Like, I think that has been
Right.
so empowering, feeling like you finally have control over your body and knowing, okay, like these are the adjustments to make. And I know if I stay consistent with this is what the result is going to be. And I know it's going to be a result that's going to be sustainable long term. And sometimes you still need a coach, like I said, to like keep you accountable to make those decisions before for you. But it still is just so empowering to just know, oh, like Joey's telling me to make this tweak. I know it's gonna, you know, eventually lead to the change that I want. He's telling me to make this tweak. And by doing it in a way where you don't have to give up all of your favorite foods, and also in a way where you don't have to kill yourself with doing
Oh, yeah.
workouts a day and things like that. Like you said, you're doing 3 workouts a week and then a step goal. Like no even like planned cardio or anything like that. Um, so
Right.
um, yeah, no, I appreciate you coming on, Lauren. Like I said, it's been great working with you. I'm excited for us to get going with working out again and to eventually, you know, start another fat loss phase and just to, you know, continue to make more progress. So, um, if anyone has any questions about the program, like, I mean, I'm assuming, you know, Lauren's probably an open book to, you know, answer any questions. If not, she just might not respond to you, which is fine too. But um,
Anybody can ask me anything.
yeah. So, you know, message her if you do have any questions. But yeah, I think we'll wrap this up and we will see you guys in the next one then.
All right. See ya.